Okay, hi guys. So I just started doing some Leetcode problems yesterday, in the sense doing and posting it on the channel. So today is the second video. I decided to take up a strings problem because I've been noticing that a lot of string problems are coming in the OAS recently. So why not start with some string problems, right? And especially in Python, I am a little bit weak in string manipulation because most of my stuff was in Java, whatever I did before. So well, here goes. The problem name is run length encoding. So the problem statement goes something like this. It says write a function that takes in a non-empty string and returns its run length encoding. So what exactly do they mean when they say run length encoding? It's a form of lossless data compression in which runs of data are stored as a single data value and count. Well, so if the string is 3A's continuous, if the string is AAA, then the run would be encoded as 3A. Okay, so the point of encoding data is it must be decodable at one point, so that we can't naively run length encode long runs. Because for example, if there's something like 12 different A's one after the other, you want to make sure that it's decodable at the other end as well. You can't just encode it as 12A. Person who's decoding it at the other end would not know how exactly to decode that, because 12A can be interpreted as one instance of 2A, so it can be interpreted as something like 1AA. So that's no good. So whenever something crosses single digit, whenever something crosses 9, you want to make sure that the other half, those two halves are separated, those two parts are separated, two or three parts are separated. You don't know how long it can go, but the coefficient of each character must be a single digit character for it to be a successful run length encoding. So if you encounter something like 12A, you want to make sure that it is encoded as 9A 3A. Okay, so the first thing that as soon as I see a problem like this, the first intuition that I get is to initialize a string in Python, initialize an empty string, and try to go ahead and concatenate the string as I go through the characters. Uh, in this case, that was my intuition. That's how I tried to solve this problem. But turns out that this is not a very efficient solution, because in most programming languages strings are immutable. So if you're actually when you're concatenating two strings together, you are essentially creating a new string, where you're extracting characters from both the strings and you're formulating a new string, which is a very costly operation. You are basically, that takes up O of n time. But in Python you can just use a list where you maintain all the characters together, and you keep on appending new characters to the end of the list. Appending a characters to the end of the list is definitely O of one operation. So instead of having an empty string, you can just have something like the output should be in this format, right? So as soon as you encounter as soon as you want to formulate your output, you can keep appending it like this. So appending to the end of the list is always it's not as costly as concatenating two strings together. So that is why this approach is recommended. uh, okay, so let's just try to analyze what we're going to do here. uh, as soon as I start iterating through the characters, I want to keep count of the length of the current character that I am examining, right? That's the normal intuition. But since I want to make sure, how do I know that I entered a new I am coming across a new character? I Okay, so to do this efficiently, I think we'll have to start with the second character, because if you think about it, we're only comparing the two consecutive characters, uh, and okay, so to do this, we'll have to start with the second character, because essentially we'll be comparing different characters on our run, and the character that we're currently examining, if it is different from the character, if different from the previous character, that means that run has ended. So it's always better to in this kind of problem, it's always better to start with the first character. So okay, so let's do that. I'll just code it up and maybe just explain it along the way. It's pretty intuitive. The only thing is using a character array is essential because string concatenations are costly. Okay. So I just initialized the character array and okay, I want to maintain a current length. I want to maintain a current length variable, and I'm going to set it to 1 because as soon as I set it to 1, I can start with the first. I assume that the first character is already inspected, and I can start with the second character of the string. So that's what I'm going to do right now. For I in range of 1 to length of string, I'm starting from the second character. I am going to inspect whether whether the current character is equal to the previous character, and I'm going to perform my operations based on that condition. So if string of I is equal to string of I minus 1, if this is the case, what should I do? I want to make sure that my current length is increased. That's all I have to do, and I have to keep going. Else, that means I have found a new character. It's time for me to populate my output array. So I'm going to append. What should I append? So there are like in this situation, I came across something. I came across B. I want to append 9a into the output. So I've come across my current length will now be showing the value of 9. So I want to append that, and then I want to append the character itself. So I'm going to append. Okay, I'm going to append. I'm just going to stringify this current length an integer. So this is how you just convert an integer into string in Python, and I append the number itself. What number? The previous number, because the number has changed now. That is why it has come into this else block. Okay, so now I do this. Okay, and then I want to make sure that my current length is set to 0, set to 1, because I have encountered a new alphabet. So from the next iteration, I'm going to be capitalizing, or I'm going to be focusing on that alphabet. Okay, so one thing that we need to keep in mind is, for example, if there is something like A, B, B, C, C, D, or D, at the end of the iteration, when you're inspecting the last element, you are not actually concatenating this. It's difficult for you to it's difficult for this logic to concatenate this the final run. So at the end of the loop, you want to make sure that the final run is also included. So you can just do that simply by making sure that the character array is you can append the current length, of course. By the time it comes out of the loop, the current length will be intact, and you want to make sure that you're appending the final element of the string, because you are not able to append it within the loop. As soon as you exit from the loop, you don't want to miss that. So string of the final element. So len of string minus 1. Yeah, so this should take care of it, and you have your character array now. Whatever you want, it's as expected. You want to make sure you convert the whole thing to a string, and you return this. So because it's expecting the output in a string format, so return, just convert this to a string. Okay, I think this should be okay. Yeah, it's okay. So let's just try this. Okay, so not all of the test cases are passing. Oh, sorry. The main, most important condition is you have to keep an eye out for when it crosses the single digit. So when there are more than 9 A's, when there are double digit of one particular character, you're gonna have to be careful. So where am I going to handle this? As soon as my current length, so this is where my current length is getting calculated, right? So if my current length crosses 9, is greater than 9, uh, what should I do? I want to append it immediately. So I'm going to do the exact same operation. Yeah, I'm going to do the exact same operation, and also okay, I can either append I minus 1 or I, because I minus 1 is equal to I can append I can do anything. I think to make it more readable I can just append I, and I just want to set my current length back to 1, because from the next iteration it's a new string. I mean it's a new run. So my run, as soon as my run resets, I want to make sure my current length is also reset. Instead of just appending the current length, that right, because my current length is now greater than 9. I don't like, for example, it's 10 right now. I'm appending just 10 right here. I don't want to be doing that. I want to make sure I subtract this and then I do this, or I can just append 9. I can hard code it as well, but this can be better. Sorry. Okay, cool. So all the test cases are passed. So now the time complexity of this operation is O of n, because I'm just going through the loop once. And but the space complexity of this is where we actually, I think, win, because we are using a character array, and the space complexity is maximum O of 2n, because imagine you have a string like A B C D. The maximum size of the array can be 2 times the length of the string. So it can be like 1a, 1b, 1c, 1d. That's 2 times the length of, that's the worst case scenario. So it's O of 2n. But since usually in coding interviews we don't consider the constants, you can just consider it as O of n. So it's O of n space, O of n time. I think this is the best that we can do for this solution. So yeah, okay, so that's it for this problem. Okay, so bye, good night.